Some parents have asked me about how do I help my teen lose weight? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting, child development, good communication all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And I've actually lost 100 pounds, and I think that's why people ask me that question. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to help your teen want to lose weight too. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about weight loss in teens and about my experience losing weight and some things that you can do, some conversations that you can have to help your teen maybe get on board with losing weight. I know that weight loss is a big concern for a lot of people because it actually really limits our mobility to be overweight. And I know because I used to be 100 pounds heavier than I am today. And that was a lot to carry around. There were a lot of things I stopped being able to do. I couldn't sit on the floor as well. I wasn't as active. And when a person is young, now it's one thing when you're older, right? I was dealing with it. It was fine. 2020 hit and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm done. I gotta do something and really focused in on self-government. There's a whole video about it on this channel about everything I did to lose weight. I'm gonna give you a few of those tips today, but if you want more related to just me and how I lost weight, you can see that on the self-government way to losing weight, which is a video that I created years ago. I decided that it was time to rein it in and to lose weight. And as an older person, it's like, well, that's nice, that's great. And sure, I'm more active and there's so many more things that I can do now that I didn't used to be able to do before. But I think when we look at young people and we see them getting larger and having less mobility and having a harder time, having an active life, we feel a little bit of sorrow for them. We worry about them because we think, well, no, you're young. These are the times to go and experience all the things, right? Crawl in all the little places, climb all the high things, do all those active things that really, those young years, that prime of your life, those are the best times to do those things. Well, I know that our culture right now is all over the place with weight loss, okay? In some ways, it's obsessed with weight loss and, all the different types of diets. It's like the new ones all the time, right, that are happening. And then in some ways, it's like love yourself the way you are, which you should. Every person should, no matter your size. You love yourself the way you are and you say, okay, this is how I am right now and I'm going to love myself because you know what? God doesn't make junk and here I am, right? And I don't know how many times I told myself that. Am I happy? Can I be happy? Can I serve other people? That is what is important. Nicholeen, don't sit and worry about your looks. And still, I don't know. I don't know how I do on looks. I think I'm changing on this channel all the time. I'm not super obsessed with it and it probably shows. Anyway, but let's talk about our children because sometimes they worry about it more than you think. They may not want to talk to you about it, but they actually are worried about it too. They don't like what they see in the mirror sometimes. I mean, what teen likes what they see in the mirror? That's very, very unusual for them too. That is a time of low self-confidence, usually scrutinizing every little pimple, every little hair out of place, They're so worried about looking just so, especially in our image-based society. So it is a hard time to be a young person right now. But when you also are, maybe having a sedentary lifestyle, or maybe you're not, maybe you're trying like crazy, but for whatever reason, you're still struggling to lose weight, that can be very, very frustrating. I know there are many young people, girls in particular, who struggle hormonally, and that can be really difficult for them. Even in their teen years, sometimes their hormones are off and they can have a hard time with weight loss and stuff like that. I've had some dear friends who've dealt with things like that, and it's hard. I know that. So what can we do to help them? Well, the number one thing is definitely don't shame a person, okay, because of whatever their weight is or isn't. You shouldn't shame yourself and you shouldn't shame anybody else. A person needs to start where they are, feel happy and confident with who they are, and then they need to move forward with a healthy lifestyle. So one of the best things that you can talk about is just healthy living. Healthy living does not equate to a size, like a pants size or a dress size. Healthy living is all about the energy that you have. Okay. And if you're able to do the many things that you want to be able to do, which sometimes means that you have to give yourself a no answer about some things in order to accomplish your goal for healthy living. Now, if you have subscribed to this channel, you know that everything here on Teaching Self-Government is all about self-mastery and about you giving yourself instructions, you giving yourself no answers, and instructing yourself in a direction that you know that you feel like you ought to go and that you want to go. So no different with weight loss. So what you do is you understand the principle, you create a vision of where you want to be headed. So you say, okay, what does it mean, child? Maybe it's a son, maybe it's a daughter. What does it mean for you to have a healthy life? What would that look like? Would that look like you're going to the gym a lot? Would that look like that you're able to run when right now you struggle with running? Would that mean that you have energy, you don't need as much sleep? What would that look like to you? And I want you to list out those things for them, because these are technically their goals. That's their vision of what they hope to accomplish. And then you say, okay, so we've been learning these self-government skills. Hopefully, if you've been on this channel for a while, you're already learning self-government skills. Hopefully, you've already done the TSG parenting course. That's on teachingselfgovernment.com, and you've got all those 4 basic skills going and stuff like that. If so, then you can say, all right, so a self-governed person can give themselves no answers and instructions about things. And so let's decide how we are going to give ourselves no answers and instructions to meet our goals. Here's the thing. One thing you've got to tell your children is that it really is more about what you eat than it is about how much you eat. So our society is so obsessed with flavor, so obsessed. Now, I have celiac disease. I've had it for many, many years. I've eaten food out of the garden and whatever I make, and and gluten-free stuff, which used to taste kind of like cardboard sometimes, all that kind of stuff. I have lived in that world for a long time. So flavor for me is kind of secondary, right? There's the people who live to eat and then the people who eat to live, right? So I definitely, even though I was way overweight, was mostly just eating to live. Actually, because some of the things that had the really rich flavors I couldn't have anyway. Well, the food started getting better and better. That did not help the waistline for me. And I really, enjoy a nice tasting something. I mean, who doesn't? But I think our children think all the more that everything has to taste exactly to their liking. The more that they're surrounded by all of the rich foods in our culture, the more they actually are sold that they should be able to eat those things. Another thing is that on our messaging, so we see, advertisements for different food places, billboards, that type of thing. And they always show some skinny person downing this triple, double bacon, cheese, whatever. Yeah, right. That's more calories than a person is supposed to eat in a day, usually, okay? If they're gonna try to maintain themselves. It's false advertising so often. Sure, can you eat that kind of thing every once in a great while? Yeah, but if you're surrounding yourself just with pizza and all those things, you're gonna struggle. Usually the children who struggle the most with weight loss are the ones who are so keyed into a certain type of flavor palette, and they really need to branch out and try new things. So in your family, you may wanna work on trying some new things, giving everybody instructions to try new things. You may want to, with your teen, have them help you try new things. So you go to the store and you find some ingredient and say, let's learn how to make something with this. How do you make something with fresh ginger? We've never done it. Let's do it. Maybe you'll get into some Asian cooking or something like that, right? Find some new things. Okay, fish. We never cook with fish. Let's do it, right? So first start with just experimenting, and then even talk a little bit about how you feel after you eat a certain way. Because when you eat white fish and vegetables, maybe a little rice with it here and there, then you actually feel really good. Your body, your gut is getting all the nutrients that it needs. Also, another reason that people struggle with weight loss is because they're dehydrated so often. They don't drink enough water. A person should drink 80 to 100 ounces of water a day. That is a lot of water, and most people do not get to that amount of water. This is what I recommend. Here is my formula, okay? This is how I lost my weight, and this is the really summed up version. Like I said, you can find more later on a different video, but here is what I recommend. I recommend that you teach your children, it doesn't have to taste bad, but we do need to decide if it's worth it. What are your goals? You want more energy? You want to not feel so tired all the time? Then is that candy bar worth it? Is that stuff with the high fructose corn syrup, is it worth it? Because it's going to drain you. You've got to learn about your food. You've got to figure out what it's doing to you. So ask yourself the question, is it worth it? Have enough water. Try new things. Get in the habit of trying new things. Talk about health, not necessarily weight. Okay? Set some health goals for yourself. Maybe it's a long bike ride or something like that that you want to accomplish together. Work on it together. Then do the math. Okay? I was so glad that I learned the math. Finally, after all of these years of eating gluten-free, of eating out of my garden, making almost everything from scratch, nobody had told me the math. The math that made all the difference for me. So here is the basic math on weight loss, and you can tell this to your child and then they can do something about it. So number one, it's what you eat, because if you know the math, you can eat tons of food if it's the right kind of food. But if you don't know the math, you're not going to be able to eat as much food. Okay? So here we go. A person should have as many calories as how much they want to weigh times 11. Okay, so if you want to weigh 150 pounds, then that's 150 times 11. That is 1620, 1,620 calories per day. Now, if you exercise, then that gives you more calories that you can have. But it's not as much as you think. It's never quite as much as you think. And your age makes a difference on how much you burn. The older you are, kind of the less you burn. So the younger, actually, the better. You can get away with eating a lot more because you burn a lot more, your metabolism's faster, and your activity level usually can be higher, which is good. So I recommend tracking it. I use MyFitnessPal, which is just on my phone. I just type in all my water, I type in my snacks, I weigh my food. Having a food scale in the kitchen and using measuring cups to dish out your cereal. Okay, so if you're gonna have cereal, get a half a cup measuring cup and dish it out. I don't waste a lot of my time on cereal, and I'll tell you why. Because it's not worth it for me. I may have a handful of granola once in a while that's got some nuts and nice things in it. That's worth it. It tastes good. My friend makes it for me and I love it. I may have some Catalina Crunch, which is a type of cereal, and I'll have that by the half a cup. I'll put some in a little half a cup bowl and I'll just eat it like this. I don't eat it with a spoon. Beyond that, I'm like, cereal, not worth it. Too many carbs. Because here's another part of the math. So you can analyze your body type, and I know there's videos on body type and macronutrients here on YouTube. So you could look at those and probably gain some insight. But for my type of a body type, which is a girl that's normally just the normal curvy body type, then I need to have 40% protein, 30% fat, 30% carbohydrates to maintain my weight at my desired calorie level. Now, if I start getting too high in the weight, like if it's going up, by the way, you weigh yourself every day and you keep track of it too. You keep a log of when that happens. And by the way, if you're a woman, there's going to be a few things that make it fluctuate here and there. Okay, we all know about that. So anyway, then you say, okay, so if it fluctuates, then I'll go down to 1,200 calories. You never go below 1,200 unless you are doing a special type of a cleanse or something like that. I did do that at the beginning of my weight loss journey. A child would not have to necessarily do that, I would think, because their metabolism should be a little bit quicker. But cleaning up your liver, cleaning up your, drinking water as opposed to soda, that kind of stuff, it's all going to help. And you could go to 1,200 calories a day. And then once you hit your target weight, then you could bump up to whatever weight you want to be, your target weight times 11. That's basically the math of it. 80 to 100 ounces of water, exercise some every day, try to get 5,000 to 10,000 steps and do something else that's active. Eat lots of veggies and fruits and proteins to maintain your macros in the desired categories, and then track it. A self-governed person tracks things. They watch what's going on so that they can adjust as things move on. So weighing yourself every day and keeping a log in like MyFitnessPal. All of those things would help your child, but that could be overwhelming at first. So start small. Be sure to start with just the goal like, hey, what do you want the quality of your life to be? How do you want to feel each day? Do you ever get frustrated by feeling low energy or something like that? Let's try to pick foods that give us higher energy. Well, in switching out the bun to some lettuce wrap instead on your chicken sandwich or something like that, you're going to lose half the calories right there. And you're going to come into your macros, plus you're giving yourself now more vitamins, and you're not having the carbs pull down your energy level too. So you could get energy really quickly. Start loading in the spinach, the cucumbers. I eat one of those big, long, hothouse cucumbers like every single day. They're 20 calories. I just chew them while I drive, I just love them because I love to chew on things. I love food, but I don't want to have it be packed on all the time. There's some tips for you. One of the biggest things is love, love, love. Don't worry. Keep loving them. They'll get there. But also set the example. Start measuring out your food and tell them why. Well, because sometimes if you don't measure it, you don't really know what you're taking in your body, and then you might end up taking in more than you really need. It's all about just getting what you need. And then once you get yourself leveled off pretty well, then you can go back to some of those yummy tastes like chocolate, which that is one thing I kind of do live for, is chocolate. Okay, so this is self-government weight loss, but there's a whole lot more self-government that I could teach you. In fact, things related to your relationship, because that may be foundational too. If there's worry, if there's strain and stress there in the relationship, if your child thinks they're not pleasing you, they could be having more problems that could be leading to stress, which also increases weight gain. You want to definitely make sure that your relationship is in good shape, so self-government. I'm here for you, okay? So if you are interested in more information about self-government, what that can look like for you and your child and your family, then definitely watch my next video, which is the not-so-known secret to parenting success. And that will teach you some of the skills and principles of self-government that not only will help your relationships, but end up relating directly to weight loss as well.